Hi guys, so today I'm going to be discussing how to convert percentages into decimals using long division. Now when we see percent signs, we always know that it is of 100%. So 6% is 6% of 100%, 25% is 25% of 100%, and 158% is of 100%. So when we try to convert percentages into decimals, we always need to divide by 100. So we're going to use long division. So we're going to do 6 divided by 100. And when we do our long division, our 100 is going to be on the outside of the division instead of on the inside. So we're going to put 100 here, and we're going to write our 6 right in that division sign. Now, when we have whole number percentages, there's what we call an invisible decimal, and it is always behind the final digit of the percentage. So in this case, it would be behind the 6. So we're going to put a decimal point right there, and we're going to carry that decimal point up. So we know that 100 cannot go into 6, so we're going to put a 0 right there. And we're going to add a 0 right here. And we also know that 100 cannot go into 60, so that's going to be another 0 right there. And then we're going to add a 0 here. And we know that 100 can go into 600 6 times. So we'll put our 6 right there. So, and we know that 6 times 100 is 600. So 600 minus 600 is 0. No more division is necessary. And 6% written as a decimal looks like this. 0.06 is 6% as a decimal. Moving on to our next one, 25%. We're going to divide 25 by 100 as well. So 25 divided by 100. And we're going to do our long division here. 100 divided by 25. And our invisible decimal point will be behind our 5. So we're going to put our decimal point right there, and we're going to bring it up here. And we know that 100 cannot go into 25, so we're going to put a 0 there. And we're going to add a 0 behind the decimal here. And we know that 100 can go into 250 2 times, which gives us 200. And 250 minus 200 is 50, and we're going to carry down a 0. We're going to add 1 and carry it down. And we know that 100 can go into 500 5 times. So we will put a 5 right here, which gives us 500. And 500 minus 500 is 0. And 25% written as a decimal looks like this. 0.25. Okay, that is 25% as a decimal. Looking at our next example here is 158. Now we know that 158 is greater than 100. So is it any different? Oh no, let's figure it out. So we're still going to do our long division. We're going to do 158 divided by 100. We'll do our long division. Again, 100 is going to go on the outside. 158 is going to go on the inside. Now, in this case, our invisible decimal point is going to be behind our 8. So we're going to put our invisible decimal point there. And we know that 100 can go into 158 1 time. So we are going to put a 1 there. And 1 times 100 is going to give us 100. And 158 minus 100 is going to give us 58. We're going to add our 0 behind our decimal and bring it down. And we know that 100 can go into 580 5 times. So we're going to put our 5 there. That's going to give us 500. And 580 minus 500 is going to give us 80. And we're going to carry our Well, we're going to create another 0 and carry it all the way down. And we know that 100 can go into 800 8 times. So it's going to be 158. Now, 158 written as a decimal, 158% written as a decimal looks like this. 1.58 is 158, or yeah, 158% converted into a decimal. Now, when we already have a decimal point in the percentage, is the math any different? Well, let's do a couple examples and we'll find out. So let me erase this. And our first example is going to be 8.3%. Okay? Now, 8.3% is 8.3% of 100%. So we're going to do our 100 divided by 8.3 in long division. So 8.3 divided by 100. And let's do our long division. So 100 again is going to go on the outside, and 8.3 is going to go on the inside. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead and, we already have a decimal point, so we're going to go ahead and bring our decimal point up here. And we know that 100 cannot go into 8, so we'll put a 0 there. And we also know that 100 cannot go into 83, so we're going to put another 0 there. And we're going to add a 0 behind the 3, and that's going to give us 830. Now we know that 100 can go into 830 8 times, so we'll put 8 there, and that's going to give us 800. Now 830 minus 800 is going to give us 30, and we're going to make another 0 and bring it down. And we know that 100 can go into 300 3 times. Okay, so that's going to give us 300. And we know that 300 minus 300 is 0. So 8.3% written as a decimal is going to be 0.083. Okay? Now, our next example is going to be 17.54%. Okay? 17.54. And we know that is 17.54% of 100%. So we're going to do the same thing. 17.54 divided by 100. And we're going to do our long division. 100 on the outside and 17.54 on the inside. Okay? So we'll put our decimal point there. We know that 100 cannot go into 17, so we're going to put a 0 there. But we do know that it can go into 175 one time. So that's going to give us 100. Okay? And then with 175 minus 100 is 75. And we're going to bring down this 4, which is going to give us 754. And we know that 100 can go into 754 7 times. So we'll put a 7 here. And that's going to give us 700. And 754 minus 700 is going to give us 54, and we're going to make a 0 and bring it down. We know that 100 can go into 540 5 times, so we'll put a 5 there. And that's going to give us 500. 540 minus 500 is 40. We're going to make another 0 and bring it all the way down as well. And we know that 100 can go into 400 4 times, so we'll put a 4 right there. And that gives us 400. And 400 minus 400 is 0. So 17.54% written as a decimal, which I'm running out of space, so I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can fit it in. As a decimal would look like 0.1 1754. I have two more examples, and we're going to share those, and that will conclude this decimals lesson. And the next example is 25.5%. And I'm going to go ahead and write that on the board right here. 25.5%. And we know that is 25.5% of 100. So once again, we're going to divide by 100. Long division. So 25.5 divided by 100. We're going to do our long division, 100 down here, and 25.5 right here. Since we have our decimal already, we're going to move our decimal up. And we know that 100 cannot go into 25, so we're going to put a 0 there. But we do know that it can go into 255 2 times, so we're going to put a 2 here. And that's going to give us 200. Now 255 minus 200 is going to give us 55. And we're going to put a 0 here, and we're going to bring it down. And we know that 100 can go into 550 5 times. So we're going to put a 5 there. And that's going to give us 500. 550 minus 500 is going to give us 50. And then we're going to put another 0 here, drop it all the way down, and give us 500. And we know that 100 can go into 500 5 times. So 500 minus 500 is 0. No more division necessary. So we know that 25.5% as a decimal would look like 0.255. Okay? Now our final example is a little trickier. It's a bigger number. We're going to go ahead and share that one as well. And that is going to be 175.85%. And we know that that is of 100%. So we are going to do our long division once again. So 175.85 divided by 100. So here we go, 100 on the outside. And 175.85. Now we already have our decimal right there, so we're going to go ahead and bring our decimal up. And we know that 100 can go into 175 one time. So that's going to give us 100. So 175 minus 100 is going to give us 75. And then we're going to bring down our 8. And 758 can go, 100 can go into 758 7 times, which gives us 700. So 758 minus 700 is 58. And we have a 5. We're going to break down our 5. And we know that 100 can go into 585 5 times. So we'll put our 5 there. That gives us 500. Okay? Now 585 minus 500 gives us 85. And we have a 0 we get to add, so we're going to bring it all the way down. And we know that 100 can go into 850 8 times. So that gives us 800. 850 minus 800 gives us 50. And we're going to bring down our final 0 here. And that gives us 500. And we know that 100 can go into 500 5 times. So we're going to put that there. And that gives us 500. And 500 minus 500 is, of course, 0. So our division is done. And 175.85% as a decimal looks like 1.7585. And that will conclude our lesson on decimals. I hope you have a good evening. Thank you.